Hello, and we're live. Hi guys, it's been so long. Happy New Year, firstly.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everyone. Let me just wait till we
Have a couple of more people coming in.
have a couple of more people coming
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, first live of the year.
Live.
And I think we're coming back after quite a long
Quite a
break.
long time, yeah.
So super happy to be back and be sharing all the cool stuff with you
I
guys.
just want to check, is it on our live or is it on our live? Okay. Huh. Interesting. It isn't showing me on this. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool,
Right.
cool. Sorry, I was just trying to see the live out here. Hi, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year,
Just
everybody.
waiting for a few more people to join. These technical difficulties always come in the way. So maybe give us just a minute or so. I hope everyone's doing well at home and hope everyone is, rested, healthy, happy, and starting this year in complete excitement.
Right.
I know things started off on an interesting road. I mean, I don't want to say good or bad. It's just interesting. It's just the way our lives are going to be, I guess. with
Yeah,
COVID.
I think last 2 years have primed us.
Primed us pretty well for this. So, I just hope that, we're here to give you all the much love that we always have to share. And today, one of the topics that we've got so frequently in our time, I'll get to that. Let me just wait for about just 1 more minute. We've got...
And I think this is a good time to reflect on
the
what
year.
has been the year that went by.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster of a journey. I think small recap just before we begin the live. We didn't expect, the way the year turned out because from the community, each and every one of you, the kind of responses that we had, the kind of sharing and the kind of learning that we actually went through in the whole process was just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
We had a lot of downs. I would say it's not always rosy and up here, but challenging ourselves through those downs, trying to make iterating, quick decisions, and really kind of navigating through those struggles.
Being able to think on our feet.
Yeah. And it's been hard. It's been a challenging year, but also very fruitful, extremely rewarding. And I think it is because of each and every one of you that we keep, pushing our mission forward, the Indian mushroom revolution. That we
And last year, the highlight for me last year was actually getting to meet and connect with so many microphiles from around the country.
Wow.
And it's been absolutely amazing. It's so good to connect with each and every one of you, and you are the reason that we are doing this. And you all make it worthwhile. So, thank you so much for being part of our journey, for coming till here with us. Stay tuned, we have a lot of really cool stuff coming up.
Awesome. So, I think we've got a lot of people in. Yeah, hi Belly, hi. How are you? Thanks. Hi Shubin.in. Hello everybody. Great. So, I think
we'll start.
We'll start.
Yeah.
So the topic that we've chosen today is the big P, like we like to call it. And
we're not talking about Prithvi.
We're not talking about me. But time and again through our journey, we've heard, from our Glow Kids to, what we stand for as an ethos of, permaculture, sustainability, zero waste. The one big thing that is always around that we just find and dabble with. In fact, recently, just today, 2-3 people DM'd me and said, thank you so much for doing this because it is something that we as, either rural farms or sustainable farms or permaculture people who are trying to really get rid of the plastic, the word, but and it's a question that keeps coming up time and again. So we just want to address a few of the questions that we often get and try to debunk.
It's one of those things that you feel guilty on a daily basis, because I consider it one of the necessary evils, because mushroom cultivation is such an incredible thing. It's so good for us and for the environment. I think this is one thing that I guess we just have to live with, but I don't think so. That's what this talk is all about today, to present the research.
And really more importantly, so want to hear from y'all, especially cultivators or even home growers or anybody else who has thoughts to share, want to keep this discussion a little more fluid. So let's just begin. I think want to start with something very basic and at least get the foundation of the conversation started. So why do we? I mean, what is the need to use plastic in the first place in mushroom cultivation? Just to kind of debunk some of the or just
to give some idea about why it's even
get
there.
that straight. Yeah.
So plastic is an amazing material, especially when it comes to cultivating mushrooms. First thing is it's super cheap and it's super accessible. So that's the reason why a lot of people around the world use it, because everyone can.
Yeah.
It's super economical.
Absolutely.
Then you come to why do we even have to use plastics in the first place? So there are a couple of reasons for that. The first reason being that the plastic is basically a container for you to put the substrate inside. And by substrate I mean the growing medium, the medium that mushrooms grow on. It could be straw, it could be sawdust, it could be anything which contains lignin or cellulose.
Right.
And for you to have that in a packet, till the time the mycelium is able to grow on the substrate, feed on it and integrate it into one single mass, the plastic cover really helps to contain the whole process. That's the most basic. The second thing is, a substrate is basically 60% water, on average 60% water.
Right.
So we have to ensure that that water stays inside the substrate and doesn't evaporate.
Right.
So plastic acts as a physical barrier for the substrate to ensure that it stays hydrated and doesn't lose too much moisture.
So you could call it like a place where at least you can keep those certain qualities that you need at that stage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And apart from that, it's also like common sense. It's a physical barrier. It makes sure that there's no bugs going inside.
Right.
There's no fungal spores going in or out of the bag. Even if your bag is contaminated, the contamination is contained in that single bag and it doesn't spread to all the bags in your room.
Right.
So it's also a physical barrier to make sure that there's nothing that you don't want going in or coming out of the substrate.
Got it. So,
actually, there's one more interesting thing, unrelated to whatever I just said, but also plastic bags really help with certain particular mushrooms.
Right.
For example, king oyster mushrooms. They grow that long because the bag allows the cultivator to create a high CO2 environment, and the mushrooms grow up looking for oxygen.
Right.
So the bags also help us in the process in creating microclimates in certain cases.
So okay, that's great, but do you feel like can you get rid of it? Are you saying that there's no cultivation without plastic? Or
Very, very interesting point. Plastic is like a recent discovery, right? And mushrooms have been in cultivation for thousands of years, I can say. Hundreds of years, if not thousands of years. Yeah, hundreds of years. Yeah. So, how does it happen? Outdoor cultivation is definitely something that you can do for all the people who really want to say, I don't want to go anywhere near plastics. Log cultivation is a technology that has been in use for a long time. This plastic bag cultivation is something that is more recent. So, log cultivation is something that you can explore. Apart from that, you can even make outdoor beds, like for mushrooms like paddy straw and oyster, and even wine caps. It's very popular to make outdoor beds using straw and mulch. But again, challenges are there. You can't grow all mushrooms in outdoor beds. And if you want to grow mushrooms on logs, finding the log of the right size, of the right species of tree, right time of year, inoculating it at the right time, and then waiting 1 to 2 years for your first yield is not something that
I would say there are many there are barriers. It's economical, not economical.
If you're a permaculture mushroom cultivator who believes in that system and who doesn't mind waiting and giving nature its time to take its course, log cultivation is most definitely the way to go. But if you're somebody who wants the process to be faster and have some commercial angle to it, or if you're a home grower, bags make much more sense.
Right. And also is there any particular kind of plastic that we kind of prefer to use, or would you tell people that that's something that they have to go for? At least some types of varieties.
Okay. So, again.
Before that, hi Shayoni. Yes, thank you so much. I love that you said you love our mushroom growing kits. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this is why we do what we do. So, more power to you, Shayoni.
Yes, more power. Anyway, sorry. So, about the plastics. So is there any particular kind of plastic that we are, needed to use?
So if you take any plastic container or bag or packet, it usually has a small triangle which has a number inside it.
Yeah.
That number indicates what type of plastic is in it.
Right.
So as a mushroom cultivator in Nuvedo, what we use is we use polypropylene grade 5 or PP5 plastics.
Right.
So the question is, why do we use PP5? Two answers. One is it's food grade. It's one of the most safest plastics that's available out there. It doesn't degrade in high temperature. It doesn't break down so easily. So it doesn't end up in your food. It doesn't leach into any of your food. It's one of the most safest plastic alternatives that's out there.
Right.
The second reason is that it's autoclavable. So question is, what do you mean by autoclaving, right? So before we add the mycelium into, or before we inoculate our grow kits, we basically put them through the autoclaving process to sterilize it, which basically means we maintain a temperature of 121 degrees and 15 psi for extended periods of time.
Right.
And sadly, PP5 200 micron is one of those few grades of plastic which can go through repeated cycles of heating and cooling.
So still better, but repeated cycles for sure, but not something that...
Yeah, you might be able to reuse spawn bags if you're using it internally, but at the same time it comes with its own set of challenges. By cleaning it, you might tear it. You might be inviting more contamination if you don't clean it properly.
Yeah.
Added labor and time.
Absolutely.
So there are a lot of challenges even in using PP5.
Right. So okay, that's plastic, and I think it's good to know that plastic is needed in the process. We do require it, and however, the world is changing. There's a lot going on today and so much research that's happening, and the buzz around town, at least in our experience that we've heard, is the bioplastic.
Right.
So I'm just, I want to be able to share with everybody about what bioplastic really is, and maybe first we can just talk about that and see.
So bioplastics are basically like new generation plastics which have come out in the recent past.
And one thing, continue, sorry.
So bioplastics are basically plastics or polymers which have been made using biomass which comes from a natural source. Maybe not all of it, but part of it is coming from a natural biomass. That's what a bioplastic is basically.
Okay, but is that the same as biodegradable plastic, or
Very, very good question. So bioplastic and biodegradable plastic are two different things. So you can say that all bioplastics are not biodegradable. Just because it's being made from a natural feedstock, it doesn't mean that it can completely break down and disappear into nature. But at the same time, I think it's safe to say that almost all biodegradable plastics are bioplastics, which are currently in the market.
All biodegradable plastics
are bioplastics, but all bioplastics are not biodegradable.
Right. And does that really, how does that really play out in mushroom cultivation contextually? Is it something that, could be explored, or?
Actually, so while we got into this whole space and we were exploring different polymers or plastics that we could use to grow mushrooms, two names that kept coming up were PLA and PHA. So PLA is polylactic acid and PHA is polyhydroxylaxinoid. I think something like that. So PHA and PLA are really, really popular compounds that have been biopolymers that have been released in the last couple of years, which are right now finding its way into packaging.
Right.
So the good thing about both of these things is that they are biodegradable and compostable. But I'm going to put both of these words, biodegradable and compostable, in inverted commas, because by compostable, they don't mean that you can just take it and put it in your wet waste and compost it. They mean that under industrial composting conditions, it will break down, which is still better than something that will never go away for thousands of years, right?
So it's not that I can just do my mushroom cultivation at home, take the bag and put it in my, say, vermicomposter.
No, it doesn't work like that. So it needs a dedicated setup of a high temperature, high pressure, particular microbes for it to break down.
But then why would people opt for, how would people access that, that side of it? Either they'd have to go to find...
I think you'll have to do your homework and see if a municipality or anyone around you is actually working towards this space.
Right.
And I think this is something that comes with the ecosystem. Even if you have a PLA or a PHA,
Correct.
if you don't have the logistics or the ecosystem to break it down once its lifetime is done, it makes no sense.
And that's precisely where we're at Nuvedo. I mean, we're really exploring options and we're trying to, find better ways to do that. But I think what Joshua is also saying is that there has to be a complete system in place in order to actually find use for
and
that.
promote this.
Promote that, yeah.
The good thing is that it's almost like it's available. If you want to buy PLA and PHA, it's readily available to you in the Indian market, and the price is almost the same as PP5.
Right.
So that's a good thing.
Right. And I mean,
and again, I wouldn't go as far as to say that they're completely useless, because if you are able to degrade it, you can use it. If suppose you're a farmer or a cultivator who uses line pasteurization or steam pasteurization or boiling hot water pasteurization to make your bags, then this is perfect for you.
Absolutely. And it doesn't go to say that, then this is the only way. I mean, also before that, I just wanted to touch upon, maybe clearing out about this. I'm sure a lot of you in the cities, and of course, we have also, you come across it quite often, this oxo biodegradable.
Right, okay.
So maybe, because a lot of people have come to us and said, can I use an oxo biodegradable plastic? Just maybe we could just talk
so
about
many of the fancy filter patch bags that you see on all these YouTube videos from America, they are considered biodegradable, but they're actually oxo biodegradable.
Right.
The thing about oxo biodegradable is that it doesn't really degrade. It's just breaking down into smaller particles. Microplastics. So basically, it's disappearing in front of your eyes, but it doesn't mean that it's completely gone. So oxo biodegradable is not really something that's like we want to promote.
Recommend,
because it's just taking the problem and making it so small that you are not able to see it, which is very dangerous.
Exactly. And I think just to recap, there is the plastic, there is bioplastic, and a subsection of that is biodegradable plastic. However, a lot of the biodegradable plastic, like you said, is not compostable under regular home conditions. And while you can use it, maybe having those supply chains in place is important. But okay, now suppose I'm somebody and I somewhere in an ecosystem that didn't have any of this. What about other ways? Maybe some Indian methods or things that we've seen in our experience.
So what we at Nuvedo, what we are trying to move towards is trying to use reusable containers to grow mushrooms.
Right. And what about like natural materials, maybe like bamboo or
So again, there's pros and cons. Bamboo, let's take it like this.
Take it one at a time.
Bamboo and terracotta, right? These are two like promising materials that I keep seeing people suggest. So bamboo, the thing is, it's difficult. It's not very easy to source. Even if you're able to sterilize it, to cut it to the right size, to fill it with substrate. Finally, what do you seal it off with? I gave it a lot of thought, but at some level, you'll end up coming back to using some
kind
of plastic or some barrier or a cap. Maybe put a cap at the end and you keep reusing that. But I don't think that there is like complete escape from plastic, even if you're using bamboo.
Right. And what about terracotta?
Terracotta again has both advantages, disadvantages. Advantages that it can keep the substrate pretty cool because of all the evaporation. I think that's a really good advantage it has. But the disadvantage is, one thing is moving it around is going to be very difficult because the chances of it breaking are super high.
Right.
So it's very delicate. You won't be able to do many things with it. The second thing would probably be the fact that there are micro pores inside in clay. So those pores basically are acting as really small places for all the contamination and for all fungal bacterial spores to just go and sit inside.
But can you really sterilize it? No.
It may be, but I don't think it'll be a very straightforward idea because it won't be so easy to clean, and the chances of you breaking it while you clean it, it's going to be pretty high.
So maybe let's just pause for a question. We've got a bunch of questions
here.
Rahul, hi Rahul. He says, what about paper to seal?
Paper to
seal it, like he's saying, rather than using the plastic that you mentioned in the top. What about paper sealing?
But again, paper doesn't act as a barrier. It's permeable. It'll get wet and end up tearing after some time. So I don't think that paper would be a really good barrier physically for the evaporation to stop. If it gets wet, there's a chance that it might tear.
Right. And then there's another person. Oh, Shalini. Hi, Shalini. She says, wouldn't terracotta absorb moisture?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It can lead to a lot of the moisture getting absorbed and evaporated, and also become super difficult for it to clean. So terracotta is not something that I would suggest.
Okay, so we've got another question from Facebook. It says, are deodar and pine wood logs good enough for growing mushrooms?
Again, it's difficult because
Hi, Sana
yeah.
Sharma. Hi.
Superb question.
Super question.
So, what type of wood do you use? It depends on what mushrooms you want to grow. But as a rule of thumb, mostly they don't prefer softwoods, and also wood which has any type of resin, like pine, which has antifungal properties.
Right.
They might not be the best wood for mushrooms to grow on. But again, these two specific instances, maybe we can connect offline and you can send us a DM. And I can look this up for you on what mushrooms we can
For
grow
sure.
on.
Maybe we can connect offline and we can, guide you on that and maybe help out.
Yeah,
there.
please send us a DM so that we can get back to you on this.
For
but
sure.
this information is there, but it depends on what mushroom you want to grow and whether the tree is suited for that or not.
Okay, we've got another question. It comes from H. Haran. He says, it's a marketing part. I am from Tamil Nadu. Marketing is not good except in metro cities. Is it getting better? Is it the same in India? Maybe I'll take that.
Yeah, off topic.
Off topic, but I'll still answer it since you asked. Because, I guess marketing is a very, it really depends upon where you're positioning yourself. What are the kind of people what are they eating? What are their habits? And I think using Tamil Nadu as a large, statewide generalization would be hard for me to really comment on.
There are pockets of within Bangalore who don't eat mushrooms.
So it's hard to say that there's one pocket. So it depends. Maybe we can take that offline, but definitely.
But that being said, it is something that's on the rise.
On the rise, and it's also how much we educate people about it, how much we share the information about the right kinds of things, and how do we actually promote entire queendom or a kingdom that we like to call it. How do we promote that in the way that actually makes sense to people?
Yeah, it totally depends on who are the consumers because their motivation is different. Maybe some people might eat mushrooms because it's really good for them.
Yeah.
Others might like the taste.
So it really depends, Okay. Anasham, he wrote, maybe you can check out Tyvek as a material.
Yeah, Tyvek is something that's been used internationally, but again, it's still plastic. So,
yeah,
not biodegradable.
Definitely all very relevant questions, and I think that it's I think what I would like to say though is that, don't get me wrong, plastic's not an evil or it's not. It's got its great advantages and made accessible mushroom cultivation to so many people, including us. And while it's something that is so hard to avoid,
if you use it the right way, I think plastic is still the best material that you can use.
Yeah.
Like I said before, in Nuvedo, we are slowly trying to move towards a more sustainable and more permanent way of growing mushrooms. So all the farms that we're currently partnering with, we're trying to get everybody to use reusable PP5 buckets and start cultivating using those. And even in our previous workshops, if you would have seen some of the stories that our participants had shared with us, we are not promoting bags anymore. We are telling people to take home reusable buckets so that they can grow from it on a regular basis and not just throw it after use.
Yeah. So I think I've got another last question that I want to take from Shalini. Do you think mycelium would help with microplastic problem that you mentioned?
Very cool, actually.
Wow, that's an awesome question.
There have been a couple of podcasts where I have seen people talking about this.
Who's it by?
I think it was on Mushroom Revival.
Okay. We'll share it with you, definitely.
So, there they talk about using fungi to eat up microplastics, or maybe just embed microplastics inside their body so that it's in one place and you can take it and remove it. But it's all just in the ideation stage right now. There's nothing concrete that's happening.
But I think there's huge potential.
There's definitely potential because they're so small. The mycelium and the hyphae are so small that they'll be able to collect all of it.
Yeah. I think we've got a last question. We're getting in a lot more questions. Okay, we'll take all of them. Conventional method of growing mushroom is much cheaper than the new one, right? So can you?
You're saying conventional using bags versus using buckets. I wouldn't agree with that because it depends
No,
on.
I don't know what he's referring to as conventional.
I think conventional method is using plastic bags, and what we suggested is the bucket. So if I'm understanding the question correctly, it depends on the time frame.
No, he's saying it's more cheaper.
That's what I'm saying. It totally depends on the time frame. Okay, a bucket costs 100 rupees to buy in the first time, but a single bucket probably, if you use it properly, can last you 10 years, right? And that 100 rupees over those cycles comes up to much lesser than how much you would have spent on the plastic cover.
Right.
And apart from that, there are like added complications, like you're adding an additional step of scrubbing the buckets or cleaning it in between cycles and things like that. But I would still say that if you're an environmentally conscious farmer, fine, this is something that you have to do in case you want to like a plastic free cultivation or like single use plastic free.
Yeah, I hope that was clear. I got a very interesting question from Naveen. What about using a biofilm and PP hybrid? And then Hari says that biofilm would introduce bacterial and yeast contamination.
Very cool question.
Yeah.
It's something that I've seen some farms in Switzerland. They wrap their substrate blocks in some type of film. It's a patented tech that they are using. So maybe in the future, with all the nanotechnology that's coming in and all these high performance polymers that's coming in, I'm pretty sure that there will be films that you use which can replace plastic like altogether, which probably even break down while the fungus is at a particular stage of its life.
That would be amazing. Imagine this, guys. You finish fruiting your mushrooms, you have a kit, and then the whole thing completely.
Yeah, the mycelium just eats up the plastic.
And that would be, and that's sort of what Shalini was saying, and a combination of what Naveen was saying, and I think it is the future. So for all the people who are on this live and are environmentally conscious or are even in this space, you may not be mushroom cultivators, but if you're thinking about developing tech around it, while the mushroom ecosystem is growing, I urge you to look at different things, tools or techniques that really could help cultivators like us or all of the people around. And I think that remember, while for an ecosystem to really advance, there are the supporting functions that come around it that also have to advance as well.
Correct.
And if it's even that research in maybe this completely degradable film, or finding more intuitive ways to look at some of the tech, happy to connect and happy to keep diving.
And that's the whole point of having this conversation, right? Like each one of us takes one material or tries to go on this search for finding what can work and then share it with the rest of the community, and then someone takes it up and looks more seriously into it. So this whole network or this whole community of mushroom lovers in India is only going to grow if we keep our information open source and share whatever
as much as we can. And I think that's what we try to do every day. But I really hope that the lockdown allows us to also go out there and share with all of y'all. Okay, we've got the last question I think we're going to take for this time. What about curd buckets?
Oh, dude, those buckets are really good. I know what you're talking about, and you can really inoculate all 30 of those and grow have a mini mushroom farm at home.
Rahul, Sandeep for sure, Shalini for sure. You can definitely use them. I mean, you can use them for pots, and you can use them if you can grow.
No, they grow. They make really good. And they're kind of small also.
So
you can have multiple different containers having different types of mushrooms.
100%.
So Rahul Sandeep, you gotta hit us up and come to one of our workshops. We'll teach you how to turn all 30 of those white buckets into beautiful mushroom farms.
Awesome. Okay, Naveen, one last question. Oh my god, this has been such an exciting live, guys. Keep it coming. Hi, you can use
Bagasse buckets in the near future if they're affordable as. Oh, I completely agree.
Can you read it out first? You mumbled.
So, the question is, how can you use Bagasse buckets in the near future if they are affordable as they can be biodegradable? So, sugarcane bagasse is something that's being used right now and being explored to make tableware and as an alternative for plastic containers. So, I'm pretty sure that in some time we'll be able to get buckets out of those also. Then the whole game is going to be very different. So let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that these kind of technologies become
keep coming out. Yeah. And I think that as we speak, so many more things are coming up, and like it's super exciting, you know.
What a really I had a really great time like discussing all these things, and a lot of like super points which came across. Really enjoyed
Yeah,
talking
and I
about it
think
today.
I'm just scrolling on this, and I think that it's been really interesting, the kind of questions that you're posing, and it's important to know that the community is thinking in this
Right.
direction, and we're trying to share this, you know, so that we shift those perspectives and paradigms as we keep growing and evolving. So yeah, I think we're going to come to the end of this live, and it was super exciting, super fun to talk about, and we're going to have a lot more lives coming up this
And a
summer.
lot of really interesting things coming your way for 2022.
2022.
Stay tuned.
It's going to be very full throttle year, at least from
As much as COVID allows
allows
us.
us to be from our side. Off topic. Wow. Okay. Ambika says super interesting conversation. Thank you,
Yeah,
Ambika,
thank you so much for tuning in.
tuning in. And Jay, off topic, but when are you guys coming to Mumbai? Oh, hi Jay. We're coming to Mumbai very soon if COVID allows, and we have so many things planned. Let's just keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, keep growing the mycelium network.
In mushrooms we trust.
Yeah, in mushrooms.
In mushrooms we trust, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week for another live, and
You must stay until then.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
good
you
night,
so much.
everybody.
Good night.